pledge allegiance to the flag. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Have a roll call, please.
Mr. George?
Here.
Mr. Wojciechowski?
Here. Here. Engineer report.
So, we received, and I would need approval on, for 2018 roads, we're still waiting for a final invoice.
Billy.
However, they submitted to the township change order number 1, which is an adjustment of the contract price. And this reflects a $39,375.45 deduction in the contract.
What did they not do?
It was just the adjustment of the quantities.
Ned, I'm sorry, what was the reduction?
So this reduction was for
No, just the
field
amount.
measurements. The amount is $39,375.45. So I would, if the board approves, we would just need a motion to approve this reduction in the contract price.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second. Yes.
And then hopefully by next meeting, they'll have their final pay request. Next item I had was 2019 roads. I don't know if you've noticed, Youngblood isn't here this week,
Yeah.
but they'll be back next week.
Roads they did do look good.
They look really
Well, keep in mind, we're using warm mix this year. It's not the hot mix, so it's not the super high temperature mix. So it has that polymer in it, and it's a different mix design. PennDOT's using it now, and they've been using it up north. But one of the benefits is it has a longer workability versus the hot mix. So
Yeah,
if you
good.
hit it with the loop, you don't get as many of those dark areas. And the other thing, it gives you more time to roll the curves. So we've done that with all our paving this year, and so far it's working pretty good.
Does that help with that, those places that look like they're unraveling a little bit?
Anytime after the paver lays it, if you touch it with a loop, it takes all the fines away. So you'll see it almost look, it'll look like a dark spot.
Mhm.
It'll just like a blem in the mat. It's not a blem in the mat, it's just they touched it with a tool. Where before, like 5D2, you didn't see that. As soon as you run a loop across it, it takes all the fines away. So you just have the coarse stones left. So this mix gives you more time to work with it. C, safe routes. PennDOT had an inspector on the job. They got the ceiling partially complete, then they got rained out. They haven't come back to take care of that. And then
I did see some of the parts of it.
it looks good.
Yeah.
Came out well. So you have to come back and touch that up. The one item that I just have to resolve with them, and I'll speak with Rochelle. We have there are 4 PCNs on a project. The one was the change when they changed from the bituminous to the concrete to CCBC. My understanding was CCBC was supposed to cover that entire cost. I'll dig into it a little further. When that fence was added, that wasn't added to the contract. And then there was one other item. So that was 3+ years ago. And we have a different representative from PennDOT taking care of it. So I have 2 questions for him. One, these PCNs are like change orders, like we just did for that contract, we reduced it. My question to them right now at this point is, A, we're going to get everything done so we can do a final payment to you. And then B, there's not going to be any additional cost to the township. Because this remedial work that they've done wasn't due to anything the township did.
Is that an outstanding payment, the one that CCBC was supposed to pay?
Well, they made, like we just went through that change order. So
I think I made a list of all the payments we made and what they were.
Well, it wasn't a payment, so
It was a
just
change.
say it was a change. So,
Yeah.
so it ended up, they deducted 11,000, added 14,000, so there's a delta in there of $2,900. Which if PennDOT's covering that, that's fine if they approve that. I just wanted to make sure that the
Right.
township wasn't being responsible for $3,000 in change.
Well, when we met with him, he said there would be plenty of money to pay for this.
Right, and that was done to benefit them.
Right.
So you shouldn't be responsible for the
Right.
cost. So I'm just waiting for this Alan Hillgrass to get back to me for PennDOT. So
Okay.
once I have that for next meeting, if everything's in line, I'll have these.
Well, let me know, I could dig through all the, I have a file.
Yeah, I know. But you gave me that compilation at one time, so that was good. PAD the township got a notice of violation for the Cedar Ridge Pond. Apparently someone must have called and got the conservation district out there, but.
That was
I mean,
myself, I did that.
No, that's fine. But, I mean, there's nothing to hide here. We knew we had the issue with the
Right.
pond. What they identified is what was in the scope of the project, so, the project's going to be rebid, that's the answer they're going to get. And the scope or the remedial measures they indicated in their letter are what needs to be done.
Mm.
Just have to understand that it's not just throwing some seeds somewhere. There's a lot that needs to be done there, so.
Right.
When's it getting rebid on?
We still have the advertising the next couple of days.
Yeah, I thought you were.
Frankly, I was trying to look for another route and wanted to talk, go in more detail, because we talked about this before. Just so everyone's on the same page. We couldn't get access on either side of those easements. We had the existing easements between the houses. If we try to come from the other side, Jason and I talked about this one day. We were just trying to brainstorm another way to access the property. The slope coming down is as steep as what's coming down from the pond, then you have a stream at the bottom. So we need a stream crossing permit, and then we would still need to cut a road in. So it'll only drive the costs up.
Then I got a phone call from one of the residents, it's a woman, I have to look back and see what her name was. She said she'd be happy to let you go through her property, but I can't remember. her name.
It's probably Christine
What's the last name?
Walmsley,
Well, Christine Walmsley, that's who it was.
Where does she live in relation to you, Mr. Patterson?
just next door to the west. That would be part of her property, but also part of Frank's property as well, in between those two, so.
Is this the one we looked at when we were out there?
Yeah, the one that had the shed that was a little
Right.
unstable,
Yeah.
there.
Right here.
Where's his house?
That's his house. So he's saying this is
Chapel.
that's Chapel.
Yeah. Mhm.
This is the chapel. This home is right here. This was the first route we wanted to go this way, with Officer Gonzi. Now, you're saying she's amenable? to
She
it?
is, yeah, and I haven't talked with Frank, I thought Brett, I don't really know Frank, I
Well,
thought maybe
if
she could.
it doesn't
come.
matter if she is or not,
Right.
there's an easement to her driveway.
Well, that's
But
attached to mine, but.
Well, no,
I
it's not
thought, yeah.
yours, it's the
Right.
township, so.
Well, I understand that.
Both those driveways are gonna get destroyed when we come down through there.
Mhm.
So whether she's amenable to it or not, we're gonna come down both
I
ways.
think you're talking, she's amenable to
On the other side, on the west side.
We were worried about the foundation
Yes.
of these two houses.
I mean, but look how tight it is right there.
Unless we went this way.
But that'd be the other neighbor.
Right.
Well, she
Oh, the other
mentioned her
neighbor has to
driveway.
be okay anyways.
She mentioned her driveway, she says, if they destroyed my driveway, would they restore it? I said, I would
Yeah.
assume.
Well, we have to.
She says, I would, that would be fine with me.
If this homeowner said yes, we might be able to sneak down here.
Well, this is definitely the easiest way.
Yeah.
As we walk. There isn't a question about it.
It's just, it's tough because there's so much
So
soil.
she said okay, right, so.
She has no choice, but she said okay to decide if we wanted to.
Oh,
There
okay.
isn't, this guy would have to okay.
Yeah, who lives there, do you know? I don't know.
I don't have,
Who lives there, Mr. Powell?
I'm not really sure, Frank, I've talked to him a couple of times, but what I'll do, I'll talk to Christine, maybe Christine, she knows Frank, and she can talk to him, first off, and just see if he would consider it at all. I'll say if no, then, you know.
well, now we have no
No.
choice, we're on a timeline since we got called. That's Christine
Walmsley.
Walmsley, yeah. That easement goes right down her property and yours.
Right.
So there's
right.
not really something being given.
Yeah.
It is what
Really
it
is.
is. We don't have this other property on, but.
I could look it up. Do you know who it is?
No, I don't think we need the name right now.
The only, if they were agreeable to it, we could reach an agreement on the property and look at it closer, we could possibly do it, but then, I mean, we're in the same situation if it's coming that way. What are you getting into? Now, the only
Can
other.
we bid it both ways, Nick, like if she says okay to get the price difference, or do you think this will definitely be cheaper, not like?
Well, it's gonna be a lot cheaper.
Yeah, because we have to build a road from here all the way down. to get
Yeah,
in
I
there.
remember, yeah. we were
Now,
there.
here's the rub to that, you have to have access to this too, so. It's challenging, but the other thing that we talked about briefly too is you have another easement comes along the back of these houses. Now, all their sheds are in these easements. But if we came along that easement, we would need a piece in the back from Mr. Patterson, a small piece to hook to the easement, and we're in. But again, the easement's a long route to traverse, and you have to stay within it. And we have a sanitary sewer, which is in it as well.
So what do they do with their sheds?
That's the other thing. They have to be moved. And more than likely, they all can't sustain being moved. You have to lift them on a front loader. They're probably,
So when they built the sheds, we told they were on easement?
I don't know what to do.
But if they came in for a permit, they would have known they were on easement.
If they had a survey, yes. If they didn't have a survey, they wouldn't have done it. Because I believe between those two sheds, there's actually a manhole.
Yeah, I think we've seen
Yeah,
one.
I think I remember.
So I'd suggest, I mean, we can bid it with a, coming this way, even if anyone would give, you could see these contours with us detail, they're the same as this.
Yeah.
You're gonna fight
Oh,
your way
these are
down,
really-
you know.
these are really,
Yeah, but see, look at this right here. It's actually steeper right here on my, it's almost a push, but you'd have to do a switchback. Yeah, but then you have to come across 1, 2, 3.
Just joking.
We're gonna go in that creek, look at the violation for the pond. So, we can add this to it and then bid that this way, then Nick, we can talk with her about an easement. You could do that or,
That's fine.
but you have one in place, so. We'll go out to bid, and if we have to make a change, we could do it by addendum, so we'll have it both ways.
Okay. All right, perfect. This way we can get it moving.
And do the other easement,
One other thing too.
beforehand.
David said a mosquito
Yeah.
trap in the back behind my shed, and Friday, the DEP called me, said they tested positive for West Nile virus, so you need to be aware of that too.
I didn't think so.
Uh,
What do you say?
Good, you wanna explain to me?
Yeah, I had the Conservation District put a mosquito trap behind my shed, and the DEP called me Friday and told me that the mosquitoes tested positive for West Nile virus. It's been treated last week, I think it was on Friday, could have been before that, and I saw the truck out front today, so I assume they treated it again. So, just so you're aware of that.
Okay.
So just the mosquitoes around your house, correct?
Well,
That's how it works.
back beyond the pond where they had the trap, so
Yeah.
I don't think they traveled too far, but.
Yeah, I don't know.
They drove pretty far. Then Frank, myself, and Chief Kramer attended a meeting last week with GitGov. And one thing they're gonna include in their traffic study, now you're traveling on Frankfurt Road, going up the Broadway from 376. You have the signal at Beer Valley Mall Boulevard. And it's a left, and then it switches to a green. And and Barry did a good job of explaining that if one car stops there when the other phase is open, that one car stopping stops that entire lane. And then the difficulty you have is if you're in the right lane, going up there, you have everyone jumping in front of you, cutting you off. So as part of their traffic study for the get-go, we're gonna evaluate making that a dedicated left lane so you can keep the right lane, and add the required signage so people know. If you live here, you know, stay in the right lane so you can zip all the way up. The only challenge you have is when someone's trying to cut you off because they're sick of the person who's queuing all the traffic in front of them. So, but since it's a developer, they will not allow that to occur unless the township supports it. So I just wanted to bring it to the board. I mean, I think would be an improvement if they did that, just based on my own personal experience. I think Barry, what he's seen and what they've also seen in accidents and things of that nature.
You're gonna make it a third lane.
We're not making it a third lane, we're just actually taking that dedicated left lane that switches to a green and making a dedicated turn lane. And keeping the right lane like an express lane that you just drive by.
Left turn only.
Left
Yeah,
turn only.
with that.
That's where in theory, it would work, maybe on a Saturday or something. You have to turn, people can make their turns, but then once the traffic starts coming down towards 376 and you're that one person, now fast forward this, when get-go goes in there, people are gonna wanna get in that way. So 2 cars in front of you go green, you gotta go ahead, the next car comes up, he wants to make the left. Now you're gonna sit through a whole cycle of signal queuing before it goes again. Now, if we do dedicated left, these people keep moving. So we just wanna bring it up to the board, because if we did go that route and they do evaluate it, they would need a letter of support from the township saying you were in favor of this change. And I think, Barry, I don't know if you have anything to add to what I said.
No, I think it makes sense for efficiency and safety. And that, you know, Christmas time, that stacks up, or people going into the mall, it'll be all
How
right.
far would that be a left turn only? How far down the hill?
I'm not sure where they would say, where the signage would start, left turn only, I don't know where they would put that. They have to, I guess, to maybe
They
evaluate.
do have the traffic study.
Yeah, the traffic study would probably say where it would stack up.
But they would put signage in, George, to direct people to
Yeah.
that right lane, it's like the through lane. So, same deal, like, think about Christmas, how it used to be. If you got trapped in that lane, you got trapped. You were stuck.
2 or 3 signals.
2 or
I don't
3
think
seconds.
you're
I think those days are
Yeah,
over.
I think you don't have to worry about that.
Yeah, the
No.
get-go's gonna generate a lot of traffic, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if they do something with
There's
the
a lot of
old
cars in
Macy's.
Gulfport now, you'd be
There are a
surprised.
lot.
Yeah, there
Well,
are.
also
Mhm.
keep in mind.
The
and
place
al-
is way busier than you think.
Well, 2 things to consider, one with the
Parking.
get-go, but not just the get-go, once the loop road's completed, you're gonna have that, when people know the loop road, so you're gonna try to avoid 3
Mhm.
signals by making a turn
Right.
going around the back.
Right.
It's gonna be a shortcut.
Yeah.
Especially the medical center, they're gonna go
Yeah,
up
there's
that
more traffic
Columbia
down
Gas
those
Road.
places, I think, than into the mall.
Now, Frank did bring up the fact that when the initial meeting occurred, and the township met with PennDOT, that they wanted 3 lanes all the way up. A lane to go right on the Broadhead, a lane to go straight on the old Broadhead, and a lane to turn right, and that never came to fruition. But, you know, that didn't get us
And
anywhere.
then the 2 lanes
But we
would be
tried.
straight through
Yes.
at the mall intersection.
Yep.
That would help.
So, that's all I have.
That's all you got? Nick, you got anything?
Just real quick, one thing, I talked to Ned about this, that out parcel property, there's for their stormwater agreement, they, actually, you know, this is, as you're probably aware, it's a standard, essentially standard form agreement that usually across the state, you know, for, projects. They proposed a few changes, to me, talked to Ned about them, I don't think we really would recommend making those changes. You agree with that, Ned?
Yes.
I did tell them I would bring it to the board though, however, that's ultimately your, you know, call on it. One was dealing with if we were making us responsible for any repairs that needed to be done, and we said, well, you're ultimately responsible. If we have to go in there because you don't do your job, then we're gonna go in and fix it. Because Ned said it's really just remedial things, we're not going in and, you know, doing any heavy construction.
Where's this at again?
Excuse me?
Where's it at?
The out parcel development, granted, this is
But
just.
they're on the plaza.
The
Yes.
3, the K, Jewelers, Verizon, and the mattress store. So really, just because of how small that facility would be anyway, it really doesn't make sense to negotiate that term. Reimbursement for, I think, payment, they wanted it done in 30 days instead of 10 we require. And they wanted 24 hours notice if we ever had to go in, like Ned said, we'd have to go in sooner than that. So really, the things that they proposed really weren't practical changes that we could negotiate. So again, we just wanted to at least make that recommendation so you're aware of where we stand on it. Keep in mind too, they didn't even transfer the property yet, so they can't sign that agreement until they
You
purchase
don't need
it.
a motion.
No, I just want to at least make you aware of that, cause I told them I'd, you know, bring it to the board, so, that's it.
Okay.
I was wondering what's taking so long for that. I thought it was like a, same thing with the dog shop.
Well,
I don't think that's just coming back,
Yeah.
personally, because we haven't heard from them. They're, I think they have a developer's agreement with water, they're
Yep, I
close
got
to the
them.
developer's agreement with the township. They're working through some matters with, the sanitary authority. Gotta talk to Mr. Martini about that. But they're gonna make some repairs to the school.
Is that all you got?
Yep.
You need an executive?
Yeah, I don't actually, no.
I
You
got-
don't?
No, I do not.
I got one thing we need to talk about.
An executive? Doesn't require a vote or anything.
No.
What's it for? Personal?
Potter line, center line.
Okay.
Litigation?
Yeah.
Committee report, Rich, you got anything?
No, I do have something on old business, recycling. I talked to Mike. He said we wouldn't be able to do it till the end of the year anyway, but he said he'll get you prices. Cause I said you had called, and he goes, Palumbo called, I said, she said she called, so.
Dorsey might.
I believe you, that's why I said it, I said, I don't. He said he'll have us something we can look at before the end of the year.
Well, not only that, when he was here at the meeting, we told him to get the price.
I don't know.
George, you got it?
No,
We're
nothing.
gonna have this discussion again.
John, you got any?
good, thanks,
Frank,
No,
Barry, no.
Nothing.
New business, anyone have anything?
Ned, we aren't doing this, partial payment number 2, we're holding off on that for 2018.
Was that for, yeah, I'm sorry, it wasn't in my reading file, I didn't think it came.
It was just written on Friday.
Just came today.
Melee, we just
Wow.
got it today.
You
Just got it today.
Yes, I would, then I would make a motion to have you approve the final payment to, Mealy and Mealy for the 2018 road program in the amount of,
$100,749.25.
This is the remainder, which is minus the 39,000.
which is minus the 39,000.
And we're gonna take it out of that construction account that we have, right?
Correct. I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Yes. Nothing further?
When they want money.
It usually does, we get our mail pretty quick.
I sort of thought you were gonna do that under roads. We thought we'd do that just under roads.
I didn't think you'd have to find out. I didn't wanna.
Well, you know what, Nancy emails it to me, she'll email it to me like Friday, and she says, I'm mailing you the original, so that's what she
I just
used.
didn't think it was the original.
Okay, if there's nothing further, we're gonna go into executive session for litigation. We won't be returning. Have a motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Second.
Meeting adjourned, thanks.